Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and Apple released macOS 27 Beta 3. macOS 27 Beta 3 is available to developers and will release to public beta testers later this month. Now, as far as the overall size, you can see it here at 17.36 gigabytes. This is on an M5 MacBook Air. And as far as other releases, this released alongside iOS 27 Beta 3, watchOS 27 Beta 3, tvOS and HomePodOS 27 Beta 3, visionOS 27 Beta 3, and also iOS 26.6 Beta 4, and all of the other iOS 26.6 or 26.6 betas. Now let's take a look at the build number and talk about what's new. So we'll go up to the Apple, go to About This Mac, and as you can see, if we click on Golden Gate here, the build number is 26A5378J. And this particular update does have quite a few updates and feature changes in it. The first one you may notice already is the new wallpaper here. This wallpaper animates, so if I lock the display, you can see it animate there. Let's do that one more time. You've got some nice waves there crashing on the rocks. Again, it animates. There we are. It's animating and it moves a little bit. And we also have a couple variants of this. So if we go into our system settings and then we go down to wallpaper, within wallpaper, you'll see here they've renamed this to Golden Gate instead of saying macOS 27 Beta. So that's the original wallpaper. So that's what we had before, but we have Golden Gate Sunset. That's the one I just showed you. And we also have Golden Gate Night. So if we click on this here, then click off of it, you'll see we have a nice night photo. Let's go ahead and lock the display here, and you'll see the cars begin to animate across the bridge. And I love all of these sort of screensavers / wallpapers that Apple integrates into the OS now. Now, as far as anything else new, we have some new icon updates here. So if we go into our icons, and you'll see it's a little bit choppy to load there, but if we scroll down to where we have reminders, so right here, this new reminder icon has been updated and it looks a little bit better in dark mode. So let's switch that over. We'll switch appearance to dark and switch the icons and widget style to dark. Again, we'll go back into that. And if we scroll down to reminders here, you'll see it's been updated. There's also one other update to an icon, and that's the chess icon. It now has liquid glass and looks a little bit different and has a little bit more depth this time around. So that's been included for years with macOS. And again, they've updated the icon there. Now we have some Siri updates a little bit here. So again, if we go into our system settings, go down to Siri, we've got our new icon here, and you'll see it says Siri and Beta. So this is something we're seeing across all the OSs again with iOS and iPadOS and the others. And also we can now modify the voice. So you'll see we have responses, and of course we have those options here, but if we go into our voice, we can select American, and if we turn on expressive voice preview, we can then adjust the pace and expressivity.
Here, now for some directions. At the next stop sign, turn right. How about some facts? Otters have. Here's another one. Your timer is set. You have one new message.
You have one new message. Here's another one. Now for some directions. At the next stop sign, turn right. At the next stop sign, your timer is set for 1 minute.
So again, we only have American currently. They'll probably update this over time, but we have the option to change the pace and expressivity, and then basically a female or male style voice. Also, if we go back here where we have requests, under requests, this has been fixed now, and you'll see if we turn this on, we can then set it up and it goes into the setup screen. So we can set this up later, but this was a bug across all of the new iOS 27 updates where this would sort of present that you need to set this up daily, and now it works properly. So you can use the keyword and then Siri after that, or both of those together, and then set it up if you'd like to use that. We also have an update if you're using AirPods. So let me go ahead and open up my AirPods and get them connected here. So up in the upper right here, if we go to our AirPods, we can go to adaptive, and now we have additional options for adaptive. We can have it less noise cancellation or more noise cancellation, or have it somewhere in the middle. So this is completely customizable now where it wasn't before. And this is something that I often heard complaints about where they didn't think they had enough noise cancellation, but I often found that people were using adaptive mode and it was adjusting based on that. So if you don't want it to adapt at all, just use noise cancellation. But if you want to adjust the adaptiveness, you can do that now with this update. If you have a plan that has over 2 terabytes of storage like I do, you'll now have access to the Home app features with Apple Intelligence. So if you have a HomeKit-based camera, you can then see more information about that. It can detect different objects or what's coming in the room and notify you about that. For example, you'll see here I have a HomeKit camera at an office that I have. If I go into it, you'll see that it will show some left where someone was detected and someone else was detected here, and that's it. So it lets you know more information about you have those options. So again, I don't have all the access to all the options as I don't have enough HomeKit devices, but you do need to have that 2 terabyte plan for that. Within Photos, if you're looking at food, you can click on the eye here and you'll see that it now says look up nutrition, and we have a new fork and knife icon that's here. So if you want to look up the nutrition information about what it senses, you'll see chicken and vegetable stir fry with brown rice, and it talks about nutritional value and more. So that's something that's new. The icon itself is what's new, but we have that option if it senses that there's food in the photo. Also, the first time you go into Safari, you'll get this little splash screen that appears as your start page, and it says automatically organize tabs, get updates with Notify Me, do more with extensions, and browse bookmarks by topic. So this is something that's new in macOS 27 and iOS 27, but again, they're just letting you know about what's new. As far as bugs and bug fixes, well, most things seem to be working okay, such as iPhone mirroring. Of course, let's give it a try here and see if it's working now. It's connecting to one on beta 3, and there it's working. So it looks like it's working properly, and it looks like it's working across all devices. It does need to be nearby though. Also, another thing that seems to be working fine is dragging windows around. So if we go here, we'll go into Apple, for example. So on the Apple website, you'll see if we drag it to the top, of course, we've got our multiple windows options, but it's not automatically going to full screen. So that works a little bit better. Reminders is no longer crashing. Microsoft Teams isn't working for some, and some apps are not working properly, and that's typical with any beta as we won't see those updates until it releases to the public. As far as other bugs, if we go into Apple's public-facing release notes, we'll click on macOS 27 beta, you'll see there's quite a few things here. So lots of known issues, so keep in mind if you're having issues, make sure you check these notes first, and if you do have issues that aren't listed here, then you can report them in the feedback app. And you can find that in your apps as you're a beta tester. Go ahead and use feedback, and then you'll be able to submit that. But again, there's deprecations such as the airport utility, known issues with app intents, and on and on. So there's quite a few things here. A lot of things they've resolved as well, such as Foundation, for example, Foundation models, but there's still some known issues. They've resolved issues with Game Center and on and on. So be sure to check this out if you're having issues. It lets you know that they're aware of the issue, and if they're not, again, submit that in feedback. When it comes to the next release, well, the public beta could be within a week or two. So if we go ahead and take a look at the calendar, you'll see here, based on what we've seen in the past, most likely it's going to be in a couple weeks, maybe around the 20th or later that week. Typically, Apple will release beta 4 like they did last year. And once beta 4 is out, maybe around the 20th, then we'll have a re-release later in the week, and then a public release usually around Thursday or Friday. Last year, they released it on the 24th, and that's usually what we see. We could see it a week earlier, hopefully next week instead. We'll have to wait and see. But we could also see iOS 26.6 at that time and other updates as well. So hopefully we'll see the release next week, but we don't know that for sure, as Apple hasn't announced when the public beta is releasing just yet. But hopefully it's next week and not the following couple of weeks after that. As far as overall performance, well, so far it seems to be nice and fast. I haven't used this as my main editing machine, as I typically wait until after it's released to the public for that, but generally going into different applications seems nice and fast. You saw system settings opens right up, and I've really had no crashes or issues. I use this regularly with my Vision Pro, using that as the monitor, and again, that works fine with no issues. As far as battery life, if we go into battery health, I'm currently at 100%, as this is a fairly new Mac, and I find that it doesn't drain excessively. Now, keep in mind it is an early beta, and I don't use this as my main machine, as I really don't want to risk any problems that would prevent me from making videos like this. So usually I wait until it releases to the public. So if you're wondering if you should install macOS 27 Beta 3, if you're already on Beta 1 or 2, definitely install it. However, if you have a production machine, I would hold off until it's released to the public. In fact, many people hold off until maybe macOS 27.1, where they work out all the bugs, as it's critical to my business and critical to daily work. So just keep that in mind. If it's your main production machine, I wouldn't do it. But if you have a secondary Mac, or you're just a casual user and that's not that important to you, then you could try it out. As far as anything else, well, I do expect maybe some improvements with Siri over time. It's working pretty good overall so far, but it does need some work here and there as far as speed and everything else. So it seems like it's okay for now, but again, it could improve in quality overall and maybe understand some context. It does seem like it's working with other apps, such as Tesla, if you ask what your car charge is as well. On your iPhone, things like that seem to work. But again, it does need some work still, and it's a work in progress. Let me know how it's going for you in the comments below, and of course I'll link this wallpaper in the description like I normally do. So if you're not running the beta, you can try it out on your own Mac. If you haven't subscribed already though, please subscribe, and if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.